Hell yeah. So,
Nice.
very nice to meet you, man.
Likewise.
We've talked many times online, emails, and through Instagram and Facebook Messenger before that.
Yeah.
Um, Sort of awkward because we're having a conversation, yet we are recording it in case we make something and make like a podcast out of it, is the idea.
Right.
Kind of a step-by-step creation of a comic is my idea for like kind of building a channel,
Right.
um, and show people how we're doing it and kind of promote the project at the same time. The name of the comic we're making is Bad Wormhole. And my name's Matt King. I'm a writer. I wrote Tales to Enlighten with art by James Edward Clark and a whole bunch of backup stories. And joined with artist. This is
Daniel
where
White.
you go.
I gotta get used to this. Daniel White.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you. We've never spoken face to face like this before,
No,
so
I was trying to think like if we had met at maybe Heroes Con in 2018 or something, but I don't think so, right?
no, I never go anywhere. So,
No, yeah. Same.
so I guess we'll talk about Bad Wormhole a little, and if something comes out of this, great. If nothing comes out of it, I'm still happy to talk to you, and no hard feelings, whatever, etc.
Yeah, yeah, sure. And I appreciate that sentiment, and I appreciate just like years of you being a supporter and a friend, and like an ass kicker to me. And I'm really happy that this is kind of starting to be something. I think you and I are overdue for making something. So I have a good feeling. I have a good feeling.
I love it. I love it. So I guess I'll just kind of run my pitch of what the comic is.
Yeah.
We could do that. And I have and for anybody who's watching later, and also you, Daniel, you'll see me stumble around with some buttons here because I've never hosted a Zoom meeting, etc. So
Yes.
I'm going to hit the share screen on something I wrote up this morning that kind of describes the book, and that way it can flash across the screen.
Nice. A lot of this is going to be new to me too, because I think I've learned that I work best when I know the least, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. So, uh, I didn't read the full script, to be honest with you. Like I just sort of I'm taking in like the character descriptions, and I read a little bit of the beginning of the first script.
Okay.
I like sort of just, again, it's like the part dipping my toe in, but also I think if I get overwhelmed with things, it becomes too much. So I like
Okay.
just this going in. So a lot of this is going to be new to me too.
Okay.
So
So I guess just a tiny bit of backstory is I wrote the first script 2 years ago for my artist buddy Bill Couture, who did a backup story in Tales to Enlighten. And I have more stories about Tales to Enlighten that semi-involve you. Um,
nice.
I wrote it for Bill, and Bill just seemed overwhelmed by the whole prospect of drawing book after book, and I couldn't get him involved. Then there was another artist involved, and that's when I wrote the second script for a year ago. And then, so this is 2 years on that I wrote this, wrote all this up. So I wrote in a dystopian 1986 New York City ruled by aliens since Woodstock, a streetwise gang girl and a volatile cyborg hybrid flee time and space through reality ravaging wormholes, only to discover that saving Earth might be the thing that finally destroys it. So that's my little log line. And I have a longer description for people I guess I should probably read too.
That's
But
the elevator pitch.
that's right. I
Yeah.
guess I'll just get right to that and then we'll talk about it. Bad Wormhole is Outlaw Comics meets Gamma World meets Greek tragedy meets Stoicism. A bloody mythic howl rips straight from the 1980s indie underground. In a dystopian 1986 New York City ruled by aliens since Woodstock, a scrappy street gang stumbles into a secret laboratory and triggers the activation of the Toki no Heishi. That's Japanese for soldier of time, for anybody who needs to know.
I've been
Um,
pronouncing it correctly then. Tokinaheshi. That's what I've been saying. So I got
good.
I'm
A
okay.
human alien computer cyborg hybrid. It's like a three-way hybrid, capable of tearing reality, ravaging wormholes through time and space. On the run from a alien kill squad, the gang escapes through a wormhole into the Wild West of 1868. So if you didn't read the whole script, you don't know how it ends.
No, no, but I kind of like that idea a little
And you
bit.
know what? I'll at the very beginning, if this is a real podcast, I will there's going to be like a 10-second screen that says spoilers because we can't make a comic without talking about how we're making a comic and what happens.
No,
So,
I mean, yeah, not to jump ahead here, but that is one of my questions, even. Like, I'd love to be able to, I know we'd like to share the process with each other and with this
mhm.
podcast, but it's going to be real difficult for me to work on such a large thing and not want to share with people,
All
on
right.
Instagram and,
Sure.
whatever. So, but I don't want to jump ahead. But
Let me
yeah,
just kill off this
sure.
the last of this description. We'll talk about that.
Cool, cool.
On the run from an alien kill squad, the gang escapes through a wormhole into the Wild West of 1868, only to find themselves trapped between gunfighters, fallen angels, Greek goddesses, and a blood cult trying to summon an alien god. But as the chaos spirals, they begin to realize the wormholes aren't just an escape route, they might be Earth's final nail. Violent, unapologetic, splash page brutal, Bad Wormhole is a time-hopping, gut-splattering epic about survival, betrayal, and the ugly cost of playing God with forces you don't understand.
Wild. Totally wild.
Okay. So part of I assume you've watched plenty of cartoonist kayfabe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, Ed Piskor used to talk about just putting everything out there and your fans are going to support you if you spoil it or not. Like that was he was never precious about not sharing things. And
Right.
I feel like that's kind of the route I want to take with it is there'll be a big spoiler warning at the beginning of the episode. If you're a reader who doesn't want to be spoiled by the story, don't watch these episodes.
Right.
Otherwise, we're going to talk about plot, plot reveals,
Mhm.
and just the process of making comics and all that entails. So that was my feeling about it. I don't know what you think about that.
No, I agree. I think there's going to be a built-in sort of community between the two of us already. And if you include them in the process, you're just sort of like making the foundation be a little bit stronger. And then the hope is that, the building gets bigger and more people come in. So if those beginning folks are there with you and they see how it goes, you're just, adding to the overall situation by including everybody in on it. And it's fun, like it's wild to draw something this crazy and not be able to share it for a year. I don't know. I don't know what the timeline is, but it's a pretty big project, man. So
Right.
it's,
Right.
I'm not gonna go dark for forever, like that's not gonna happen. So it's gonna be hard to not
Right. No,
watch.
I think we should be sharing it, and I feel like that only builds audience and people that are interested in
100%.
like a community, like you said. And I
You
find
know,
it.
it
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nope.
No, no, you.
Nope. Mine is off topic. You go ahead.
Just that there's ways to share things without, if that one shot is the guy who shot JR, you don't show that shot. You know what I mean? Like there's ways around.
Right. And if it was anything like super dire, I could always just mute our audio and play elevator music over it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Big Papa, gonna treat you right, just for fun.
I find it funny that you didn't get to the end of the script because what was I going to say about that? Because oh yeah, because I offered to send you the second script, and you're
Yeah.
like, no, don't even send it.
Well, again, that's like this is like a warped machine up here. It's not correct, So, but I've learned to like work with it the way that it works. And I think when I read things, if I don't identify characters with a visual, I struggle with attention span and getting lost in it a little bit.
Hmm.
So with this process and for this project, and if that's what this is, well, then I like the idea of really focusing on building the characters first. And then, maybe after this part of the process is over, then I do read the first script and the second script. And then I take things from that and I can kind of adjust the characters
Right.
within at the end of this process. But I like the idea of creating these guys and girls and then reading it with them in mind. And then that will help this with the visuals of the storytelling, right? Because then that becomes that's a different, an entirely different thing, an entirely different
Right.
beast than creating what somebody looks like and then, putting them through the paces of whatever the scene might be. That's very different.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Um, so I have the first two scripts here,
Now,
like
did you,
typed
there's,
out.
it's 7. Can we say that?
Yes, I should probably talk about the format of the whole book. It's
It's, it's a
it's
monster.
it's laid out as seven issues initially. It's like three. The whole book is three miniseries of like seven issues, like 21 issues total.
Right.
So the first, and we're looking at magazine size because I
Yeah.
really want to like be kind of art forward.
I love that, by the way.
And the first seven issues is like an outlaw comic from the 80s, black and white, maybe even newsprint paper, or if not, we'll do like a faux kind of like we did in James did in Tales to Enlighten, where we had like a paper texture, not filter, but like a layer in Photoshop. We had like scanned papers that we kind of made it look like from that age. So I'm thinking strictly like black and white ink, Zipatone made, Zipatone stuff, and no like midtones, no washes, except for there's a flashback issue that I would like to do all in that sort of, kind of differentiated. But yeah, so seven issues is what we're looking at for um, the first series.
Cool. Well, so that brings up a question for me, if we can get into it, maybe.
Absolutely.
Because for the audience, we haven't really discussed too many details about all this yet. So there's going to be a lot of process in this, which I think will be great for people watching. Zipatones you mentioned, I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so like a little solution to that would be that occasionally in art, and I'll cite a reference that I have in my head for what it could look like, uh, just like thin lines, and the reference would be OMAC by John Byrne,
Mm-hmm.
that black and white, and he tended to his zipatone, I guess it what it was, but it was just all thin lines, all in one direction, or wherever
Mm-hmm.
shadows are. I can do that by hand, and I have done that in the past. But as far as like buying zipatone and stuff like that, I'm down, but I've never ever used it before, and
Right.
that could be either a blessing or a curse because I could either really enjoy it and love it and figure it out quick, or it could I don't I'm trying not to curse either, but it
Oh,
could it
please,
could
that doesn't matter.
is that doesn't matter because it could really
No.
fuck up the process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm willing to see what you can do by
Yeah.
hand. You do not do anything digitally?
No, so yeah, so this is a larger question. I
Mm-hmm.
don't do anything digitally, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all by hand. It's all pen and ink, pencil. No zipatones. I like wash, but I'm happy to rein that in until the particular issue that you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like a lettering question.
We'll get a letter. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, like that.
I remember, so to flash way back to like 2017, 2018,
Yeah,
I'd asked you if you wanted to do a story,
yeah,
and you threw up a whole lot of excuses, including the lettering, which I, immediately like, hey, we'll just get somebody else to letter it. And
I'm
then
good
there
at
was other things, but yeah, I definitely wanted to get you involved in that back then.
I know, I know.
And I feel like, I saved some messages I might show later if we have time. It's like even maybe even some regret on your part that you didn't jump in.
A
And
100%.
and like I feel like maybe the time wasn't right, and maybe now the time is right.
Yeah. Well, so much of this, and maybe that's not for this show, but it's all part of the process. It's a confidence thing, like there's a lot of mental things that are happening when you're creating. And that's part of the overall story too, which is maybe that would be I don't mind getting into that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was like a confidence thing. It was a crazy story that you wrote, and it was I just didn't feel like I had the ability to pull it off. And but with that said, I feel like over the last 5 or 6 years, I've grown tremendously. Whether that's not a pat on the back, but I feel good about
Right.
what I've learned in the time since.
There's nothing wrong with saying that. It's not necessarily a pat on the back to realize that you've grown in skill and talent. So,
Try to.
I mean, from what I've seen online, it seems like you have. So,
But that scared the shit out of me back then. I was like, man,
yeah.
I can't do this. So there's no way I can do this justice. But it was a regret. It was a regret. Happy to do the pinups, but
Right.
I always thought
Hmm.
about that.
So I have a little sheet of notes I made for
Mhm.
just for this episode to make
Me
sure
too.
I didn't.
Me too.
Great. So
Yes.
this is more not necessarily script stuff, but just stuff I didn't want to like gloss over. We talked about what the series is. I talked about how spoilers is going to be introduced. The format of this is I'm riffing on. Have you ever heard of this book? These two guys, Kurt Bruegel and Jake Jacobs is making. It's called Turbo Pit Fighter.
No, I'm writing it down though. I'll check it
So
out.
they have a YouTube channel, and they literally own. They're older than us
Hmm.
by a few years, but they only get together on Sundays, and they live stream for 3 hours, and they make this comic together. They've been making it for this first issue now for like 3 years, and they only make it on 3 hours a week on Sunday. And it's really like right in this whole genre that we're doing. Um, Jake wrote it and drew and penciled it, and Kurt is doing the inks, which is kind of giving him short shrift because his inking style is incredible. He inks it, then he has like this liquid mask that he puts down, and then he like does these washes and spray paint, pulls the mask off. It's like a whole thing. It's a very interesting. I mean, it's tedious if you're going to watch 3 hours of like literally, um, what's the word? Like real time making the
Yeah.
comic. My
Yeah.
idea is to get together every week or two, talk with you,
Right.
and maybe during the week you can like somehow record 20 minutes or whatever, something of you, um even if it was longer, we could time lapse it to fit the episode, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
And we can kind of run that in one of these Zoom boxes at the same time to give people something to watch.
I can do that.
But but I'm definitely riffing on there. Let's get together. Let's make a comic together online. So I just wanted to mention that because those are two good guys that I really like, and I didn't want to not give them credit for this whole idea.
I love stuff like that. Like as a creator, as an artist, I love what is it, Dan Panosian and his crew. I don't know, I may be a little out of the loop if they're still doing it, but they were having these like long 3 hour shows on YouTube where they're all drawing while they're bullshitting, and I could watch that stuff for hours.
Well, I know the Ink Pulp guys do.
Ink Pulp, yeah,
Right, they do that show every other week or so. Mahfood and Sean Crystal, and they usually get a guest, and that's basically what they just draw and shoot the shit. Which is, if we got together every week or every other week for an hour, and we could talk about story. If we didn't have anything else to talk about, we could talk about comics read growing up. What we're reading now. How you want to burn the country down, whatever it might be.
yes.
Oh wait, that's me.
So,
You mentioned, and I think we definitely should, whether we keep this in the podcast or not, but I don't see why not. You wanted to talk the business stuff of it.
well, yeah, I mean, honestly, like the computer stuff maybe is more important because this is just sort of fun for me right now. So I don't want to like, but it's worth talking about, because it's such a large thing, right? Like it's going
Hmm.
to take a lot of time. And is there pay? Is there part ownership? Things like that, look up front. I've never been published by a major company, drawing wise. I've never. Uh, like I'm trying to think if I'm misspeaking here, but I don't think I've ever created all the self-published stuff has all just been me and making stuff on the cheap, and there are no sort of like business aspect to it. I don't trademark shit. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun making comics.
Hmm.
I have a job. So it's like the love and the day job have always been just two different things. And with the love stuff, I don't put too much effort into that, which is maybe why I haven't made too many comics. But so there you go.
Right. Well, the only comics I've made are the Tales to Enlighten comics,
Yeah.
which the first book I paid James a page rate.
Hmm.
So, but in this it would be like the way I foresee it is like a partnership. Um, split everything, after expenses. You complete ownership partner. We're in this
Cool.
like together, 50-50. Uh,
Cool.
if when they make the movie, we both, get the money, that
Yeah.
sort of shit. But yeah, I have no money to pay up front. I'll just be,
No,
I
I think,
basically wiped out my entire life savings.
yeah.
On Tales to Enlighten, and then people are like, "Well, you sold all those books." Like, yeah, but it came in drips, and I paid it my electric bill, and I paid my groceries, and like, I
Yep.
certainly didn't get rich.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I knew that up front, and I'm
Hmm.
fine with that. I love
No,
that.
it's absolutely a good thing to talk about here in the first 20 minutes, like, so we know where we're headed.
It's best to be on the same page. And I bring up the ownership thing too because it's not a situation where you're saying, "Here's these five characters. This is what they look like, and go." This is like there's a bit of the heart going into it because I'm sitting here creating, drawing these things, and you get attached. I mean,
Sure.
not quite there just yet because it's so new, but I can feel that already. Where there are certain designs that I've sent you where there's a couple of little pieces where I'm really proud of that, and I love what I did and I'm happy with what I did. And there's a sense of ownership over that where it's like, you feel it like I wouldn't want to just not have anything to do with this
Right.
thing when it's done after the fact, like
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm happy to hear. That's what I want from the artist, and every script I've ever written, which is one script for James and then 32 short story scripts.
right.
Every one of them, I'm like, this is the script, this is how I see it, but you know how to do it better, especially visually, which artists will many times. I'm 100% open to you changing it, and if it's something drastic, talking about, if it's story point, like, I don't. I was definitely heavy-handed with James in the beginning when we first started. I was like giving him layouts, stick figure layouts, and everything. And it's like it was too much, and I didn't realize that until we got 40 pages in, and I was kind of like, hey, you know what? If I just tell him the way I see it, and he can filter that through his own. The pages came back, the best thing about being a writer is getting those pages and seeing them better than you had envisioned. So,
He is such an incredible artist.
oh,
And
100%. Yeah, I'm his biggest fan.
yeah, amazing, amazing. Uh,
Absolutely. Um, yeah,
well,
so any other business type questions you had about that?
no, no, not really, not
I don't
really.
really know anything about trademarking and all that stuff too, but I think it's something we will have to look into because just I don't know, to protect ourselves,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. That's the whole.
Right.
I work in the art world, the fine art world during the day, and I'm dealing with that kind of shit all the time. So,
Right, right. Like, so when I printed up the first Tales to Enlighten here,
yeah,
no barcode on it. I didn't know anything about that and how
yeah, yeah,
stores want that, and which is fine because I wasn't really selling to stores anyways. When I had that printed, I went through a middleman that went through China, and as I'm talking to printers in China now, I realize how much of a cut they took. Like, so I'm sold out of that book. I'm looking to reprint it, and I've been getting some prices, and I thought for sure I would never be able to reprint it. I am gonna knock out 100 pages of the pinups and stuff, and just focus more like on a 200 page book instead. But even so, super reasonable. Like I actually can do it. So as well, I mean, fingers crossed that
sure,
I'm not just going to send my money away and not get anything. But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
anyways, so my point was the ISBN number. Like I didn't have that, and now I'm part of the Power Pulp collective, and we're like wholesaling to stores, and stores want that. So that's something I have to. I did look into that, but by the time this thing's real, I should have that because I want to put it on the reprint. So.
yeah, yeah.
Long way of saying, yeah, we'll have to do things probably more legitimately than either one of us has done in the past.
That type of stuff is really interesting, I think, and like I like the idea of thinking about that kind of stuff. If any way I can help with that too, I'm happy to do that. You just reminded me of something that I thought about when we were talking earlier, about the magazine style size. This is like Fantasyland comment, but maybe at some point, if it's possible, to take the art because I'm kind of keeping everything in one sketchbook to start with here,
Hmm.
and maybe there's a short story that comes with it, and then do like a treasury edition size as like a special project kind of thing.
Sure.
Or again, this is like,
Right.
Fantasyland stuff, but I love that, like that would be fun.
It would be fun, but
Original art, for the story pages without the lettering and all that shit, and just, you know, a new story for it. But that would be a fun idea, I think, maybe.
definitely something to keep in mind. I would say we really like archive everything,
Yeah.
scan everything. And
Yep.
what I did for Tales to Enlighten, and especially the second book, I put together like the digital only version.
Right.
There's no, you can do whatever you want digitally. You can show every sketch, every
Yep.
script revision. You could absolutely bore the reader to death, but there are some readers that like all that kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
process stuff, you
Yeah.
know.
So you do have a computer guy, or you're the computer guy, or like I can scan the shit, obviously, but
Hmm.
again, like,
So my brother is a longtime graphic designer.
great,
So he's kind of like the Zatoichi of Photoshop, the
yeah,
blind swordsman for sure. And
nice,
then I have another kid locally that I met through the comic store years ago, Travis, that helped me put together all the print files and stuff because I am pretty tech deficient. This Zoom call is right at the limits of what I could probably figure out right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like borderline, like I get it all, but I don't partake
Right,
much of it, And the joy of making art for me is getting my hands dirty and sitting at a desk and using tools.
right.
It's just the computer. I've tried it. I got an iPad with the that app that you can make art on, and
Oh, like
it
a
just
clip art, not clip art, clip
what's it
studio
called?
or something.
Yeah, I don't know, one of these things where you can draw on the screen, and
Hmm.
it's just I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the
You don't
computer.
really use it. Some
No,
people use it just for kind of like rough sketches and stuff, when they're
yeah, I'm old
no.
school. I'll just sit with a pen, and like a little pencil and paper. And that reminds me too, like we were talking about where you were given uh sketches and stick figure things. I'm gonna need that. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be pages where I'm gonna be
Sure.
like, I got this, and there's gonna be pages where I'm gonna say, Matt, I need help. I don't see what.
Totally willing to help in any, you know what I mean? I just want to make it clear that I'm not trying to overstep either. That
No, you're not. And that's one of the things I really loved about what I did read of the script is
Mhm.
that it's spacious. You know what I mean? Like there's not just a ton of descriptions of every single thing happening. It's very clear. This is what happens in this panel, and as an artist, I really appreciate that. And that's what I was. That was like the first thing where I was like, when I read it, I was like, oh man, maybe I'm gonna end up doing this because this is really, it reads really well.
Right.
Yeah,
So, I may be overbearing, but the main character is just the only thing I've completely like put all my energy into thinking about. And I do have, a couple. We have a Miro board that maybe I could
yeah.
share the screen on.
Do you remember?
And I'll text you. I have like a new outfit design for the main character.
Okay. But for character designs, I'm very loose. I'm like Asian kid, black scientist,
Yeah,
older white. That's
right, right.
very, that's up to you really, as far as I'm concerned. But
Right.
there's so many specifics about the main character because just the way everything has to pay off later,
Mhm.
like
Right.
there's a reason he has a metal arm, or there's a reason that, they wears the helmet, etc.
Yep.
Is this screen visible to you?
It is. Yeah, yeah. I can see it.
Okay, great. Um, yeah, so what I was saying is I have this, you've seen this, most of this anyways. I uploaded some new stuff here.
This has been tremendously helpful to me. I love this kind of stuff. I need this. So this is great.
My point is here is the main character either has some sort of scar or eye tattoo or whatever because he is a mix. They've taken this human body, they've mixed it with some alien parts, and they've implanted like a computer AI thing in his head. So the idea of having some sort of face tattoo or weird markings or something, because he wears a helmet around the whole time. So when he takes the helmet off, we can identify him like very clearly. That's why I have all these like slain. I mean, I don't know how you envision it, but this is what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
Something that's like obviously when you reveal it and stuff.
I
And
had
we
one
had
little idea in there, but I haven't gotten to that part of taking his mask off yet. The helmet's still
yeah,
on in my mind.
it doesn't happen for issues
That's
several
what I
sub.
figured. So I want
Yeah.
to focus on that helmet
Hmm.
look first and really get that down. I want it to be,
Right.
it's got to be such an iconic, simple thing. Like, that's why, do you like the helmet?
I do a lot. I like it a lot. I have it. I can put it right up on screen here. What you gave me.
Cool.
Let me
You
see.
know, and I hope this doesn't anger you, but I
Oh
got a
man.
buddy, Justin, who's a graphic designer, but he's not like a comic book guy at all, or not, he's not in the community really.
Yeah.
And I did show it to him because I trust him and he's like, one of
No,
my oldest friends.
you can definitely show people. No,
Cool.
don't worry.
But, he loved it and he's like, it's so clean and simple. He's like, it almost feels like it's been done already. But I don't
Mm.
think it has. Like, I'm trying to think about like if that idea has been like, if I like cribbed that from something without even sort of thinking about it. But I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think you're good.
I think it's sort of like something different.
Right. So the idea we were trying to figure out for the aliens and how we could, the idea is our hero here wears this helmet where you can't really identify him, but his daughter is also in the book. So how would she not recognize even a lower jaw? You know what I mean? So we mixed it with the alien thing, and I took an image I had and I copied this lower jaw here and photoshopped it and gave it to you, and then you came back with this
Uh,
design here, which I like a lot.
That was the whole thing right there. Once I got that image from you, it was like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
So, so my question though here with this, once that helmet comes off, the circuitry is kind of like connected to his actual eyes with the marking. That's
Right. So I'm thinking
underneath.
lower jaw alien, then we have kind of like the circuitry stuff under the nose, and then everything from the nose up, I'm thinking would be his original face, what's
Right.
left of it.
I'm excited to show you. I'll text you after we do this, but
Sure, sure.
with the, I did like, now that I've kind of getting the basics of these two characters down, or I know the other character really isn't a character, it's just sort of like the species, the aliens.
Right.
But you start drawing them more, and then you find that things fall off that you had included in, like, like this guy's face that we're looking at right now. The pass I did last night is such a cleaner, simpler version of that, and it gets more to the point.
And
So
if you're gonna draw it 1,000 times too, you probably want to streamline as much as you can for yourself, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But in that streamline, you start to find the personality of the character, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I've already redrawn this guy a couple times since this doing these pages that we're looking at. And he's
Right.
just sort of like slowly becoming somebody, It's great. It's fun. It's fun. That's what I mean. Like,
I love this here where you have like this kind of plate that's holding together
yeah, like I was
his
thinking about
head
that
and the tech.
wrapping around to like
Mm-hmm.
the thing over here. I know you had said their planet is sort of, devoid of resources. So I'm thinking about like, like scavengers and things that they need, like the little wire goes into his mouth there to
Mm-hmm.
feed him or, give him air, whatever.
Yeah. And you asked me if they wore clothes and stuff, and I'm thinking, maybe the warrior soldier class maybe is shirtless and stuff, and the higher ups are in some sort of uniform or something. But that's stuff we can talk about as we go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, yep.
So,
I
but
did.
like,
I did another pass with this guy with that species, sort of like not in a gown, but like a robe sort of situation. And that would be the idea. Would be to just take that species and just multiply them by, because that's like I know further down the line in the book, there's a war coming, right, or something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna need a lot of those guys.
The war mostly happens in the second series. The first series is much more kind of local. We kind
Right.
of expand as we go. The first series is kind of like outlaw comic local.
Hmm.
The second series is kind of a alien invasion, stopping an alien invasion story, and the third one is like he has to fight like the alien god.
Sick.
And it was like ultra dimensional and just like all sorts of weird shit. So it just gets crazier as time goes, is the plan.
I
So
like it. I like it.
um the main character I was thinking was dressed all in kind of like this leathery bondage Mad Max sort of,
Right.
this kind of look here.
Yeah.
Because I think I really love the way the black, like it's just to get the white highlights of all the kind of leather stuff. Oh, I think I just moved that photo. Whatever. I
Yeah, I've
still
done that.
haven't. I
I've
haven't
never used
figured.
this. I've never used this website before, so
Yeah,
I had to like move pictures back to you for you because I was like, I didn't know how to use it.
that's okay.
You know,
Um,
one thing, and this is a creative question because
mhm.
my brain has been sort of how it's been processing this. When I'm drawing these guys and thinking about them, I'm kind of thinking about them in the sense that they're in like like a B movie from 1986.
Yeah, that's
And
the idea. So I
I
have
feel like
like
that's the idea, right?
yeah, absolutely. So I
Cool.
have down here the probably the one I've gone over more like. So I was thinking this for this kind of style and this kind of Dungeons and Dragons future where sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I have a whole thing called where is it down here? Vibes, and it's all this like 1986, 80s kind of movies we rented at the store.
Yeah. Oh
So
man, I
yeah,
rented a lot of these movies.
definitely the vibe we're going for.
So, like when I'm thinking about costumes and helmets and all this kind of stuff, I'm thinking like, what would they have made this out of on the cheap in the 80s for a movie? Like so it
Yeah.
adds like a realism to it for me.
Yep. So
Or
yeah,
a place to start. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yep, that's definitely the feel I'm looking for is that mid 80s kind of when all those black and white comics were coming out and
yeah,
the
that's some
mix
cool.
of that and the canon films, that sort of
Yeah.
vibe. But all right.
Cool.
So we're back.
Nice.
So I got I threw up two of the images you just sent, and then I just saw you sent a third one, which I didn't get to yet. But
Yeah.
can we share screen?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this. I think I started drawing Noheshi sort of scrawny, but that wasn't really based on anything you wrote. It just sort of like that was just coming out in the doodles. But I think
Hmm.
you said he's a bit stronger, right?
Yeah, I was thinking,
I tried to bulk him up a little bit, but that could be adjusted.
Ran Xerox, Liberatores, ran Xerox, ran in Heavy Metal magazine back in the day.
If I see the image, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, I've seen that, but off.
Right. Images. Yeah. So you remember this guy? Do you remember this?
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah. So I'm thinking he's like a big dude, actually.
Ran Xerox.
Yeah. And have you read any Fist of the North Star?
No, not really.
Okay. So when they get into fights, all of a sudden they become kind of impossibly large. They just keep like kind of exaggerating. And
Okay,
that's something we could play around with too.
interesting. Would like that be the cybernetics sort of like jacking him up?
Yeah, or in like in Fist of the North Star, it's not there's not like a real reason. It's
It's like visual storytelling, basically. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like as the battle goes on, they just get like bigger and bigger. But that's
Gotcha.
that's something we could play around with exaggerating, or we could find an actual physical reason, or he could just be a big dude and we could stick to that, you
Okay,
know.
cool. So this
It-
the bulkier one that I just sent is kind of getting close then a little bit.
yes, yes. Let me go back to share screen.
The also I want to say this before the cannon, the arm.
Yes.
I'm just sort of like I'm not really focusing on that just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So any cannon arm that you see me draw at this moment is sort of like a placeholder.
Okay. Because I
I
was
want to make that a bit more iconic and better, but I haven't really been thinking about that just yet.
okay. Where did I have that? I have that somewhere on the stupid board.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you did on your
Here. So I'm
images.
thinking it's like a normal, like it's so it's under all this kind of costume, but like
Right.
when he fires it, it goes like create like it's
Yes, I
just an
saw that.
arm, but like all of a sudden it's like goes, and then it'll revert back to a normal a normal arm after that, you know.
Oh, interesting. So it's not
Right, like so you're not gonna have to draw a one-arm guy the whole time, you know?
well, I kind of didn't mind that. Like I
Okay.
the idea of it being a cannon like at all times, but that's interesting. So it could be a hand that the whole arm turns into a cannon. Okay.
Right. That's the way I was imagining it. Like it was just like it looks normal, but when he shoots it, or you know, and I don't feel like we're gonna use that a lot. Like
Okay.
that's really not the purpose of like this comic is to be like all gun heavy as far as he's concerned. I want him to kind of fight more with try to reclaim his humanity sort of and not rely on all this cybernetic stuff.
Got
But
it.
that this is I don't forget what, you know, I should have labeled where everything came from. I feel like this was from maybe like a heavy metal, one of the new heavy metal issues. I forget.
Yeah, yeah.
Not giving any artist any credit.
No, yeah.
But yeah, I like the what you just sent over.
Yeah, I'm still kind of like messing with the costume. I love the smaller drawing there up in the top left of on that one
Hmm.
page. Just as far as like a costume goes, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I don't know. This is like an eccentric sort of like tick of mine, like that little cape. Like I like that. You know what I mean? Like it's just fun to draw. But you know, anything you see that I do that you're like, I fucking hate that. Just tell me. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
Yeah, sure. I'm fine with that for now, you know? I mean, I feel like the idea of like we're gonna have a lot of characters introduced and they're gonna get killed off, you know, a bunch of them. You know, like I feel like his arm when we first see it is just like looks normal, but he's got like all this leather on and stuff. And when he finally uses that cannon, it's gonna blow the costume apart, and then the costume is, you know, just gonna be jagged there, you know. It's
so.
like it's not gonna reform his costume and stuff. So, and
Uh,
under the helmet, this is something that that hasn't been revealed yet, but like the back of his head, I'm kind of thinking more like RoboCop-ish. We're gonna have a bunch of circuitry and stuff back there.
Yeah, on one of those first images I sent you with the like a million little heads on the page,
Mm-hmm.
we're starting to think about the back of his head there. I was
Right.
kind of assuming it was like a cybernetic thing between like the back of his skull and
Yeah.
spine sort of situation.
Oh yeah, right there.
Yeah, like
See.
in there. I mean, these are just like scratch doodles, you know what I mean? But
So part of the story is the back of his head when we see it is gonna be something like this. We're gonna have like a whole bunch of like ports.
okay,
Like I don't have to give you like very specifically what they are, but
right,
as the story goes on, especially in the third part, when he is hibernating for 100,000 years to become a god,
right,
he goes and meets like he'll meet Thor, and when they fight, he'll chip his hammer, and he takes that chip of the hammer and
right.
he inserts it into one of those ports. And there's
Dude,
a tarot card that Cersei the witch gives him. He puts that tarot card. He goes meets like some a pastiche of Jack Kirby's New Gods, and they get the anti-life equation, and he feeds that into one of the ports. So
that's it.
like when he's like this massive god by the end, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's sort of so you're already thinking like, you know, you're already on the same wavelength as I, you know, without me even telling you about all that.
Yeah, I was looking up brutalist shapes,
Hmm.
and you know, you just come up with like a bunch of clip art of like just rectangles and squares, but just you know like the tight pattern of them, and but like a real grid sort of situation too.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what I had in mind with the back of his head. But you know, as ports, you know what I mean? Like, but
Hmm.
just the design part of it.
Yeah, one of them is gonna be like a round sort of, it'll be like a almost like iPhone. The older iPhones had the like the circle where you put your thumbprint.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Can you do
he'll
me a favor
yeah,
and give me like a little sort of like scratchy doodle of what you envision the back of the head because that'll help me a lot.
sure, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that thumbprint, like he ends up like shedding a tear or something, and Buddha will wipe away the tear and then like hold the back of his head, and that thumbprint, like that'll be like the last piece of the puzzle he needs to defeat the
Yeah, yeah.
his counterpart. So,
That's it.
I mean, there you go. That's a spoiler for
It's
the last issue of
uh,
21 of them or something.
the
So,
last page of series 3.
yeah, so if anyone who didn't want spoilers, I've ruined it for you already. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, unless you had anything else, I was just gonna scroll down to some communications we've had over the past that I wanted to show off some of your artwork and stuff.
Yeah, no problem. I think maybe the only last question I have for today would be, where do you want me to go next? Do you want me to go with the gang members?
Anything you want to do, man. If you want to start designing stuff like that, yeah. I mean,
So I'm sort of like working in between the time on the clock. Like I got a couple commissions and obviously
hmm
day jobs, multiple day jobs,
sure.
and weaving everything in there as best as I can. I'd like to maybe get a little bit tighter on the two that we've done, or like the race and like this that image and the
Yep.
main character. And then yeah, I was thinking about the gang members being sort of like the next
Right.
big piece of the puzzle, unless you think somebody else would be a little bit more important to work on
No, it
first.
doesn't matter. It all has to be done. Here's what I had envisioned, kind of for the vibe of, I mean, there's only two women in the gang, so this is sort of not, accurate. This is my buddy Tony Farrow who did
Awesome.
this comic Ulf Maverick, but that's a very 1980s sort of this one here. But just sort of kind of new wave, even whatever, whatever you're thinking.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Cool.
But
Yeah,
this is just that's again, this is just what I was envisioning, but it doesn't have this isn't etched in stone.
right, right. Well, I like the way we've been going back and forth, and for the listener, just to sort of like give a little background for what you haven't heard us talk about. I had started with the main character, Takeshi no Heshi. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
And when it came to the mouth, I got kind of like hung up on it. And then Matt suggested, well, it's kind of like this alien species that we haven't talked about or designed yet
right.
either.
So we that's what I said. Maybe we should probably jump
We
back and
moved
look
over
at
to
that.
them, yeah, which was, super helpful again. But I love this how everything kind of ping pongs. Oh, we'll do this, but then, well, really, that starts here, and then, okay, let's go there, and then so on and so forth. So that's why these are the two that we've done so far.
Right.
Yeah. No.
So when we started talking in 2017, you were doing your corner box commissions,
Yeah.
which maybe if I get real ambitious, I could like show some of those, or I'll overlay this in the later video. I don't have any of the corner box ones really to show, but
Yeah.
I asked you about a Deathlock commission, which was, is a cyborg too, which I thought is, sort of full circle here. And so I just wanted to show you what I pulled out of our Facebook Messenger. Sort of, this is what you had sent for the idea. Um, and let's see, it's the pencils.
Gosh,
So
this
this
is
is from 2017.
great.
So I just really like that it was a cyborg then, and now we're looking at a cyborg character now too.
Full circle.
Yeah, and this is the finished. This is your finished piece, which I actually have.
Yeah, it's funny looking back at older art from like almost a decade ago. There's so many like little ticks in here that I kind of like eradicated from the style.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was 9 years ago,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. Yep.
you're bound to grow.
Yep.
So I mean, I hope you don't hate it.
No, 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 no. It's
Yeah,
just great seeing like the evolution, like
yeah, for
little
sure.
nuances that you did so comfortably 10 years ago, you almost don't do at all anymore. It's strange.
Right. And so then I bought an Adam Warlock corner box that you'd done.
That's right.
Um, let's see. And then I think I invited you here to take part in Tales to Enlighten, and you were just like, too much going on. But thanks for thinking of me, sort of thing. And then what do we got here? Yeah, this is you trying to let me down easy.
Yeah, I did. But also, yeah, it's a confidence thing.
Right. And this is the guy that we ended up going with for your story, who's no slouch either.
I did a stellar job. This
Yeah,
is
this is
amazing.
he's a Russian artist, Filia Bratukin. I'm probably saying butchering that name, but
Right.
he every once in a while he pops up on some DC variant covers and stuff. So I'm buying like some weird DC Batman book that I've never bought or whatever, it's like dark metal or something. I'm like, because I try to like support these guys and I love their work. So,
Yeah,
but then, so you did agree to do some pinups for me, and you did this one in the first book.
yeah. Which, to be honest, is like one of my favorite corner
I
boxes.
love it.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
Yeah, and it's got that black leather. This is the sort of stuff I'm looking for with that black with the white highlights, sort of kind of give that vibe.
Yep,
And this is the second one you did
that's
with
right.
the Holy
I forgot
Trinity
about
Dance
this.
Squad.
I forgot about this one.
Yeah, and then I had some another photo of it. And then I had some dude in Italy color them.
Hmm.
So this is what the colors look like. Uh, this one
It's
came
always a
out good
joy to
too.
see the work colored because, I do paintings.
Hmm.
The comic book stuff I've ever done, by and large, it doesn't get colored. So when I do get the opportunity to have somebody color my work, it's like, I love it. Uh, I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. I just found this colorist on some very uh standard comic looking for work kind of Facebook group kind of, and he was just like he did it for almost nothing.
Good
Which
job.
is basically my budget. So so here we are in 2020, and even up to like 2 weeks ago, I'm telling you to put together a
I
book of
know.
these corner boxes. And
Yeah.
this is 6 years ago. I was bugging you to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I really think you should. I think it would be I think, I would love to see that collected into a book.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun.
I'll keep on you. We'll get on that. Here's you expressing a little bit of regret. Wish I could have done some sequential, maybe next time. So, I mean, here we are,
Yep.
And me, I could strangle you for saying that. And this is the pinup you did for the second book, which is, I think I might have said, I really liked what you did in La Mano del Destino with the wrestlers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yep.
then this was sort of your take of all the severed heads from that first book, because the idea of Tales to Enlighten is the two characters collect 666 severed heads to power a machine to jump dimensions.
Yeah,
So
and if I remember right, you were great because like it was all superheroes, but I said, do you have designs for particular ones or anything? And you were like, no, just go crazy. And this was a ball to make.
yeah, and here's the colored version. My buddy Dan Lee
Yeah. So
colored this, which I thought came out great. And then we even made some bookmarks out of it, which
yeah,
I happen to have right here.
nice. I got them somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's it. That brings us basically up to today,
Yeah.
where we are now. I just wanted to kind of show our relationship here, because it seems like we are entering into a long-term relationship here,
Yeah. Yeah.
committed relationship here. Is it you always go by Daniel or Dan or no?
I don't really have a preference, to be honest with you.
All right.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you feel pretty comfortable with this Miro board thing that I've got set up?
Yeah, I do. I do. It took me a minute to sort of get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little bit easier on the telephone than it is on the desktop
Okay.
to move around and use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even with that, like I just sort of with these two characters that I've looked at already so far and started to do, I maybe spent just a few minutes looking at that.
Okay. I just
You
feel like
know,
instead of filling folders with it, like laying it out on, I don't, maybe you prefer folders, and I could do that too.
no, no, I don't mind this because it's like just sort of acquainting myself with the vibe about the character, and then I kind of don't, I'm not trying to like rip anybody off,
Right.
obviously. So I'm not
Right.
I don't need any of those to sort of like look at while I'm
Right.
drawing.
And that's really just inspiration,
Yep,
or it's kind of a shorthand of trying to get in my brain of what I'm envisioning.
yep.
Like,
Which
so
is
when I show Andrew Buck's character with like all these spikes,
yeah,
I just wanted to like kind of relay, like I'm thinking he has spikes on one arm or
yeah,
something,
yeah, yeah. So it's perfect for what its intended uses for. It's perfect. It's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Um I feel like a meeting like this really helps us, at a good starting point, and it kind of aims us to where we want to go. Actually, I read a thing this morning. Um, are you familiar with the podcast, The Daily Stoic?
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, so this guy Ryan Holiday, and a big theme in this book in Tales to Enlighten was very Buddhist centered, remixed Buddhist lessons. This is remixed Stoicism, like the four virtues of Stoicism, which are courage, discipline, justice, and wisdom. So the kind of in every issue I have like the character Nina, which is the main character. Either she's the main character or the kind of the co-main character.
Right.
Thinking about lessons that her father had taught her, and like so we do flashbacks that like represent these lessons of courage, discipline, justice, and wisdom. But I was reading something this morning. Where is that book? And here. Maybe to get all woo woo real quick, I'll just read this. I wasn't planning on doing this, but here we go.
Yeah, go for it.
This is from Epictetus, who was one of the Stoics. First, tell yourself what kind of person you want to be, then do what you have to do. For nearly every pursuit, we see this to be the case. Those in athletic pursuit first choose the sport they want and then do that work. And then I'll just read his little commentary about it. So, an archer is highly unlikely to hit a target she did not aim for. The same goes for you, whatever your target. You are certain to miss the target if you don't bother to draw back and fire. And it goes on like that. But my point being, Epictetus was talking philosophy, kind of bigger life lessons, and not making a comic book, but
Right.
kind of the same rule applies,
Well, it sounds
kind of,
applicable to me and
yeah,
my desire to do this,
yeah,
like it's like if you don't aim, you're not going to hit the target. So,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So you kind of have to see what kind of people we are and where we want,
right.
yeah, with intent, and then do the work. So it's kind of good just to fairly, sometimes like fortune cookies, you can find relevance in very broad. But I thought, aim kind of having the show and then aiming for what we want to do is pretty much the whole idea of the show, which we'll have to come up with a name for, I guess.
Yeah, we will.
Um, I
Um,
was thinking either have you ever heard the expression the first law of holes is stop digging. You get yourself in trouble, stop digging. So I was somehow related to wormholes or something, or into the hole, or I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know. If you got any suggestions, we can throw it out because this is going to be coming out no time soon, but.
yeah. I
Which
think,
probably this we'll probably bank these for quite a while until we, have a bunch under our belt and are kind of gearing up to, say we pick a launch date, there's no deadlines.
right.
But, just say we have, and then we see how many episodes we have, say 10 episodes, 10 weeks from that date, we can start rolling them out. That's what sort of my thinking, I guess.
I think once well, I guess, again, I've committed, but I'm still like nervous and I'm
You
still
can
like
still,
just
hey, you can still
still,
back out and I won't
I'm
hate you.
still dipping the toe in. But I think once we get to the point that I'm doing pages, I think that would be and this, again, disagree. Please, I like disagreement because it, creates
Hmm.
the next conversation. Once I start doing the actual pages, I think that might be a good time to start putting these videos out.
That's fine with me too.
Get it as close to real time as possible for people,
Okay.
because I think once I sort of know all the characters and what they look like and can start getting into the script and designing the pages and drawing them, I'm going to want to share elements of what I'm doing at that point. And if I'm already doing that, to have the sort of like, push of here's also this show that we're making that talks about what this shit is. So,
Right.
this
No,
context.
I agree.
I'll appreciate that and it'll make my life a little bit easier what it is that I'm doing, And
Right.
again, just sort of like once that train leaves the station, at least certainly for the first issue, it's gonna go, because then it's like I just need to, maybe I can do like 2 pages a week is sort of like the idea or the
Hmm.
hope,
Right.
and then what is it? 48 pages was the first issue?
43, I think.
43.
Double size first issue to crush you.
Yeah, of course. Of course. But that's fine. But once I start going on
40,
those,
yeah, 43.
with did I ever send you a copy of 1976, that first book I made?
I don't have that. I have the Atomic Tales book.
So I'll mail that out to you at some point in the next couple of days or week. Um, that was like a maybe I want to say 12 or 14 page comic. No words, it's just based on like punk rock and spacey, trippy shit.
Oh, you know what?
But
I might have that, Daniel.
I kept going with that. I just never published the rest of it, but there's like a good 60 pages of that.
Dude, why you tell me these things?
There's a lot of it. There's a lot of 1976. And I was just cranking those pages out because it was sort of magazine size. And I was kind of like writing it and drawing it as I went. There was never a script for 1976 ever. Like it was just, what's the next page? Well, let's see what happens here, what's happens here. But I got into like a nice little rhythm of doing those, and I was cranking those things out. Again, life was a little bit simpler at that time, and I was younger, and I didn't have anything to do after work but come home and draw, and life is a little bit more complicated than that now. But once I got into that rhythm of knowing who the characters were and just doing the pages, it was fun, and there's a lot of it. So I've done this, there's precedent for me making a lot of pages of one thing. It's just nobody's seen it.
So I really like to hear that there's precedent, and then, but I don't like to hear that like you just hoard all this stuff.
I
Like
heard a lot of stuff, yeah.
I like there should be absolutely should be a collection of the corner boxes, and I don't understand how you have so many pages of this other thing that isn't collected either.
There's like I want to say there's got to be at least 60 corner boxes. There's countless pages of things that I've had plans to make a book out of. There's books that I've made. You know what I mean? Like entire books that are in a drawer somewhere, but then, life changes and things happen and you don't get to put certain things out, or you put them out and there's like just 50 of them, and that's it.
How
That's
many
all
of
I
the
did.
atomic, how many of the atomic, we might have to show some of these on another episode, but how many copies of Atomic Tales did you make? Because that was very handmade, like labor of love.
That was always the thing with me. Like it was more about the entire package than making a product that was, there's 500, there's 1,000 of them. I wanted it to be sort of like intimate and unique and, what felt as close to one off as you could get.
I mean, it had that very cardboardy cover, right? Is that,
Oh
and
my
then it had the library card in there.
word. Yep. I think I
Brilliant.
made either 100 or 200 of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was done at a local printer on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. My guy, Lee, that was his name, and I was the way I made those was so budget, but like it was the process. I would Xerox them and then make plates for him that he could put on a Xerox machine, and then I could, I'd show him like this is A B C D E F, and he knew that he took that plate off for those 100 copies, flipped the paper, flipped it, put the new plate in with the 2 pages. I had
A
all the
plate,
pageants laid
like
out.
a plate, like an embossed printing plate, like
No,
that.
like it was, I bought cardboard that would fit the Xerox machine, printed the 2 pages, um,
Tape them down.
taped them down where like the pageant would be like in the book.
Right. So that was what kind of the master.
Yep, yep. And this guy made these books, and he was he was so wonderful to work with. But I mean, like, he's like, you're the only person that comes in here and does shit like this. It was not it meant to be a book publisher, this joint, like, but we made it work.
Amazing.
There's not a lot of them.
Definitely on a future episode, I'll pull my copy out and we'll have to look at it
Cool.
for sure.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Awesome, dude. You got anything else for me before I let you go and enjoy your Saturday?
No, I think today I gotta draw the Walt Disney castle for a friend for his wife's birthday, and I'm gonna try tonight to tidy up a couple of these drawings of these guys, and then start to move towards the gang members.
Love it.
And I love this. I love being part of this. I've been like, if you could see me here in my little space, you'd be like, oh, he's good, because I've been just drawing and doodling more than I have in a while. And I thank you for
Right. No, I'm absolutely very pleased to meet you. Very happy to have you considering being on board. And one last time, I'll give you the caveat of if you still want to jump ship, there's always time. That it is a long-term relationship we're building here. So I know that's probably scary, but
You know, I think I would be honest with you if I saw like a roadblock up ahead of like, well, this is gonna get me, or this is scary.
or that
And like
guy's a psycho.
the size of it is scary for sure. But
That's what she said.
yeah, yeah, never to me. But,
Couldn't
I
help
don't
myself.
see too many of those. Like I'm just sort of enjoying the ride right now, which is a
Great,
good sign and a good
great.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll just wrap it up here then.
Awesome.
And I don't, do you have anything you want to talk about, like commission, a website to send people to, that sort of thing?
No, not now. Maybe next time.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
sounds good. Then I will let you go and we'll reconvene at sometime in the near future.
You'll get some images from me probably later on tonight, but thank you, brother.
Love it, man. Very nice to meet you, dude.
Likewise, man.
All right,
Later.
take care.
Later.